Hello. If you clicked this expecting a how I cleared my skin story, I am sorry to disappoint you. This is not one of those videos. This is a yappity yap of how I have grown to accept the skin that I have and manage it as best I can. This is what it's been for as long as I can remember, since I was a kid going through puberty. My first memory of a pimple was 5th grade. Unfortunately, it was not a small pimple. It was quite large. I also have rosacea a few years ago. It was at work. I remember an employee telling me that that I looked like a raccoon because the redness, when it gets really bad, it goes all the way up, all the way around my face. And yet, for some reason, this little section under my eyes stays its typical color. So unfortunately, I know what he's talking about. The rosacea still bothers me to this day because it's very difficult for me to hide emotion. I can splash water on my face. I can put whatever, and it's not going to tone down that redness. Baseline is a hint of red, like how it is right now. In addition to that, I live in a very cold climate majority of the year, and then I just naturally have flaky, dry skin. I remember my dad telling me, just take a washcloth, soak it in warm water, and then just rub that skin off. I tried that. Guess what? The flakes came back. I think it might be a rite of passage for anyone who develops acne or any sort of facial skin issue that I've probably used that St. Ives apricot scrub and what's the brand? The Clean and Clear. So I've tried many face washes, many facial moisturizers, physical exfoliants, even topical ointments that were prescribed to me. None of it worked. Although the really extreme noticeable dry skin flakes subsided at some point, even at my current age. 34. It still happens, even right now. I doubt you'll be able to see it. Dry flakes right under my nose. Everywhere is so dry. It feels extremely taut. I don't want to say burning. Irritated is the best way I can describe it. That's how it feels all over when I don't put anything on my face. So the main things being the acne, rosacea, and dry skin. Then my very late teens started noticing a random chin hair. It would be like one under my chin and maybe like one mustache hair. Unfortunately, the older I've gotten, the more of those whiskers have appeared. I'm in a routine of every day I'll check to see if there's any whiskers that have popped out that I need to pluck. That can be attributed to PCOS, which I have suspected I have had for years and only recently got officially diagnosed by my primary care doctor. It does make me fearful for just continuing to age, especially going into perimenopause and menopause and you know, when the hormones start to get crazy. Anyway, I'll cross that bridge when I get there. I really don't want to think about that. My hope is that one day I will be able to afford electrolysis. Just makes me super self-conscious. I don't want to be close to people. Want to make sure that I have eliminated as much of the hair that I can. Something else I struggled with heavily in middle school and high school, comparison. I had friends who were starting to get into makeup and they did have the type of skin where the peach fuzz wasn't super long, no acne, or if they did have a pimple, they'd be like, oh my God, I have a pimple. And it was like, you would never be able to see or notice it unless they pointed it out. You know, those very lucky people. Doesn't matter what product they used. It was like perfect. Just sat on the skin, not peaky, not flaky, not nothing. I just remember thinking, what am I doing wrong? What are they doing differently? And you know, my friends, they of course saw what my skin looked like, so they wanted to help me too. They would show me whatever they were using. Oh, okay, I'm gonna use that because that must be what I'm missing in my routine. It took me years to find out that that was not the case. That it doesn't matter what I used. My skin was never gonna look like my friend's skin. Another thing, my friends and I would tan all the time. So when summer rolled around, we were outside in our backyards, at the beach, at the pool. It did not matter. We were outside tanning. No sunscreen whatsoever. Understanding now the level of damage that I did to my skin, not just my face, but my entire body is so bad. Like it just makes me cringe. It's so bad. I know what it's like to be younger. Like,
oh, that problem isn't going to impact me.
I was that person, and don't do that. There's a couple of moles I've had my entire life, but The older I've gotten, I've also started to develop sunspots. You know, when you think of an older person and you see those spots, those bigger, darker spots on their head, their face, their hands. Yeah, I have developed small sunspots on the sides of my face from all of that tanning. It catches up to you. If this video reaches anybody, especially a younger person, wear your sunscreen. My puppy's not gonna leave me alone. Can you see this? She thinks it's a game for her. You're so naughty. You're so naughty, girl. The number one thing that ended up making the biggest change for my skin is a prescription medication from my dermatologist called spironolactone. I constantly, every single day without fail, would wake up with a pimple. And there's like a really tiny whitehead forming right here. Nowadays, this is about as big as a whitehead gets if I get one. Before this medication, there were many whiteheads. Like pretty much every pimple I got was or turned into a whitehead. It took a little while for that medication to kick in when I started taking it, but when it did, a world of difference. This medication is not for everyone, so if you're curious about it, talk to a doctor. It's helpful for me, not only for the acne, but also for my PCOS. I don't know when, if ever, I'll stop taking it. Yeah, I who knows? I'm going to be taking it for the foreseeable future. Either way, though, the biggest thing is accepting that your skin is never going to be perfectly clear. If that happens someday, great. However, if you're like me, your skin might just be complicated, and that's just who you are, and there's nothing wrong with that. My puppy's sniffing my camera. What is that, Beavis? What is that? As I've gotten older and started making my own money and realizing that I have free will, I have developed a love for Sephora. Now, I know pretty much everything in that store you don't actually need, but it's so fun. I do love shopping at Sephora. It's like a little treat. I have tried many high-end product. To be honest, aside from maybe a small handful of things, there's nothing that I truly stick to. If there's a product that comes out and it appeals to me and it looks like it might provide some benefit, I'm not opposed to trying it. I do that knowing that it might make me break out a little bit. It might irritate the rosacea really bad. I'm not going in blindly. Anyway, things that I will not spend a ton of money on, because I have in the past and it really makes no difference for me, is face wash. I personally just stick with, no, I'm spacing on what it's called. Basically anything you can get at like Target or Walmart or wherever. So like Cetaphil, Vanicream, La Roche-Posay, any of those retail skincare brands that are recommended by dermatologists, and it usually says it right on the bottle, and they're gentle for sensitive skin. It works great. Honestly, same with facial moisturizers nowadays. Like I said, I do like to experiment, so I do have quite a few moisturizers from Sephora that I've purchased in the past and I'm just trying to use up at this point. After all of my products are used up, just to list a few, I'm not gonna say I'm never gonna buy these things ever again, because I do like some of them, but it's really not necessary. I do use an exfoliator. This one's from Sephora. I use it once a week. Because my skin is so sensitive and red and flaky, I first use toner, same brand. I actually use this right when I get out of the shower because I like how it feels on the skin, and I think, I really don't know why I do it. It's not necessary. I've heard dermatologist videos online where they're like, toners are optional, you really don't need it. But I do like how it feels when you step right out of the shower. It's nice to have something that's a little bit lighter before you go in with like your normal cream, just so that while you're in the bathroom drying off and like putting on lotion and whatever, your face isn't drying up like the Sahara Desert. Anyway, I showed this a second ago. Hypochlorous acid. Thought I'd give it a shot. I don't know if these make a difference for me, or maybe I'm not using them right. I'll particularly use these after I've like plucked out some of my whiskers and my skin on my chin and face is just really sensitive, and spray that area. Yeah. The sunscreen that I use for my face is this Beauty of Joseon. Best sunscreen I've ever used in my life. I save this only for my face because it's too precious. I'll put on just regular sunscreen for my body, but when it comes to my face, this is precious and I love it. It's very lightweight, no white cast, doesn't break me out. Love, especially with rosacea. Sun and heat are huge triggers, so definitely want to layer up on that sunscreen. Trying to think of anything else. Oh, I think this is completely unnecessary. I did buy one of those red light masks a few years ago, and you know, there might be some efficacy to it if I actually used it. The brand is Omnilux? Omnilux. It's just like any other red light mask you'll see online. I have no complaints about it, but yeah, it's really just me that I need to be consistent with it before I decide if it makes a difference for my skin or not. Apparently, it's supposed to help a lot with redness. There might be something else. There might be more that I'm forgetting to include here, but ultimately, when it comes to products, I've just accepted that my skin is my skin. It's going to be red. It's going to get irritated as long as I'm keeping it moisturized and have sunscreen. That's usually when it is at its best. One more thing. Something that doesn't help with the rosacea, but does help with the overall appearance and texture of my skin is shaving my face. You can get these at Sephora. You can get these anywhere. You can get them at Target. You can get them on Amazon. Maybe once a month, month and a half, every month and a half, I will literally shave my entire face, my forehead, cheeks, chin, kind of up on the neck, everywhere. I'll usually do it in the evening on a day where I know that the next day I don't have anything going on because it is going to irritate my skin and my skin will need a little bit of time to recuperate. This has been a game changer as well. It makes it a million times easier to play around with makeup. And the last, I think this really is the last thing. When it comes to makeup, the Armani Luminous Silk Concealer is, for me personally, the best concealer I've ever used. It is the most cooperative with my skin. It sits on the skin nicely, even nicer after I've shaved my face. It doesn't look super porous, cakey, flaky. It truly looks like my skin, and I know how salesperson-y that sounds, and I'm genuinely not trying to do that. I'm not going to stop raving about it because if you have skin like mine, you know how tough it is to wear makeup, let alone find a product that works for you. So, yeah. Officially, I think that's all. Thank you for watching. Please comment down below anything, subscribe, and I'll see y'all later. Peace.